And I would urge you to focus your direct-to-vendor campaign on where the whole building is owned as one freehold entity. Those offer far more juice in the deal, with far less restrictions and unknowns.
Hello Kyle, welcome to the show.
Hello. Nice
How
to be here.
are you today?
I'm fine, thank you.
Good, good. Where have you travelled from?
I've travelled from Dartford.
Okay, so not too far.
Not too far now.
That's good. Is your deal in that area as well, or do you invest somewhere else?
No, my deal was in Clapton Common,
Okay.
E5. That's
Okay.
where my deal was.
And tell us a little bit about your history in property development.
Well, currently I do property sourcing for other investors.
Yep,
So I'll find deals for them, great deals for them, and pass it on.
lovely. So what are you after today from our angels?
So what I'm after right now is funding for office to residential deal.
Okay.
Like I said, in Clapton Common,
Mhm.
I'm looking for 305,000,
Yep.
which is including the purchase cost and the build cost.
Okay, nice. And what are you hoping to convert it into?
Into a 2-bedroom flat.
Okay, excellent. Well, this is up a few of our angel streets, I think. So I'm excited for you to go in. We're going to take you in shortly and then we'll have a chat when you get out.
That's great.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Enjoy it.
My name is Kyle. I've travelled from Dartford today. What I usually do is property sourcing, so I find deals for investors like yourself. I'm looking to put an offer of 190,000.
190, yeah.
Yeah. I haven't put the offer to the vendor yet,
Okay.
but he is interested in getting rid of the property. He did tell me to put an offer in. I'm looking for 100 grand for the build cost, the construction cost.
Yep.
And you're looking at GDV for 480,000.
Okay.
So I've actually got this GDV from a couple of estate agents in the area. So just to simplify, we're buying it based on 265 per square foot purchase, build cost of 140 per square foot, and the sales is 669 per square foot.
And it's got a bakery underneath it?
It is a bakery underneath, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, which is, I think it's let for further 10 years. But
Yeah.
obviously what I'm interested in right now is just the office.
Just the
also
office, yeah.
it's a freehold as well.
What exactly is it that you're buying? Because 190,000 sounds very cheap for this area. So
Yeah.
what is sold off on long leases? You're buying freehold, but what is it that you're buying that's on
It's
the
the
freehold?
office upstairs.
On 2 floors or both sides of
On the
bakery?
first floor. On the first floor.
On the first floor
Yeah.
of both sides of the bakery?
Yes, that's correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's a long lease on the shop,
Yeah, there is.
and
Yeah.
there's a long lease on the second floor.
So does the owner at the moment who you're buying it off, does
Yeah.
he also own the bakery underneath?
He does, yes.
And he owns the top floor office as well
Yes,
above you?
that's correct, yeah.
Okay. So you're gonna have the freehold,
Yeah.
and then he's gonna lease back on a 999-year lease or whatever, the ground floor and the top floor off you.
Yes, that's
Probably.
correct, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's fine. One thing with bakeries is that they start very early in the morning. Like they start baking at 2 o'clock in the morning
Right.
normally, if it's a professional bakery. And obviously there's smell, and it's quite a nice smell, mind you. But I mean, there's noise and everything from 2-3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
So you have to bear that in mind. I think. I don't know what you think, Ranjan, with that, but you've got a number of investments in London, I know, but
I haven't actually found this affects, because quite frankly, in London, deliveries all happen overnight. For
it
these
doesn't
sort
happen
of
in Suffolk
shops.
like that.
So, they just live with it. I mean,
Okay.
they're used to seeing
So
a little bit of noise.
I'm
That's-
worrying unduly.
But
is what
that's
you're
not
saying.
a particular concern.
Okay.
I still not fully understanding the ownership structure.
Right.
Because normally owners don't do that. They don't kind of
No.
sell you. They tend to keep the freehold and lease you a part of it.
But
Yeah.
either way, that doesn't really matter, because you're either going to get a 999-year lease on the first floor,
Yes.
okay, or you're going to have the freehold. But even if you buy the freehold and the rest is leased to you on the
Yes.
9-9-year leases, you're going to have to produce a 9-9-year lease to sell the flat off. So
Yeah.
actually,
And there won't be much value
Yes.
to the freehold.
there's no value in the freehold anyway.
So when you make the residential unit on the first floor,
Yes.
if the access is from the back of the shop, what I want to know is that service road. Is that used to access plenty of other flats on that rear, or is it full of bins and that kind of stuff? How attractive is it? For
So I haven't seen the
residential?
property in person, but I've seen it like on Google Maps and everything.
What's the actual investment you're looking for from us? Is it the purchase plus the cost, the total?
Yes,
Which is 334.
that's correct. Yeah,
Is it like online for sale?
No, it's
or
not, direct
they're
to
just
vendor.
looking for offers.
I'm looking for offers, but this is direct to vendor as well.
Okay.
Great, well done.
Good.
How did you find it?
Letters. I've seen
Okay,
a lot of
excellent.
You
letters.
see,
Fantastic.
you can find a needle in a haystack.
You've said £140 per square foot, so 100 grand build cost.
Yeah.
Ordinarily, I'd say that's light, but
I don't think it is.
I don't
mean,
think
we've
it
just
is.
done a refurb
yeah,
in Kingston, and it was £130 a foot,
Yeah.
and that was a proper job.
yeah.
I mean, I would say 150 maybe, but I mean, we don't
Yeah.
know the condition of it and so on. But I mean,
I even think it could be a little bit less than that. I mean, if it's one flat, you've only got one kitchen and one set of services. I mean,
Where
Yeah.
you lose with these sort of conversions is the access, because you can't put a skip there.
Yeah.
You're using weight and load. Rubbish removal is more expensive. Delivery is more expensive. You can't keep that many materials on site. It's bringing it upstairs and all
I mean,
that. That adds
it is just
10%.
like refurbishing one flat. However, of course, you need full building regulation approval, which means you need fire, soundproofing, all these things. Can you do the soundproofing from the floor, or do you need to get into the bakery underneath to get up? In which case, you're not likely to get permission.
you might just do both.
You
It's
can
the middle,
do
floor
both.
and ceiling here.
You can do
will have to do both.
soundproofing
Yeah.
from the top. It's slightly more expensive, but you can. and
You
it's
have,
worth it in
you
high
have
value
Ranjan, but
areas.
only if the ceiling's high enough.
Um,
Otherwise, because you're going to add to the floor.
You don't need that much. You
No,
really
it's
don't
about-
need that
it's
much.
about 20 mil,
Yeah, it's
yeah.
about 20 mil. The issue here is services and getting waste out.
Well, what about
waste-
waste?
the
That's-
waste.
out,
Do you know what?
particularly
I never worry about
if you
that.
can't get into
Ranjan.
the shop.
Oh, don't worry about that. There's
John's got
ways around it.
macerators in all his
There's
apartments.
ways
Ranjan.
around all
Well,
that.
you can't throw it out the window.
You can't throw it
Ranjan had
out
a
the
good
window.
point
no.
about the access, but something he didn't quite mention was the desirability of the access.
Yes.
Because there's one thing
Yes.
about waste,
Yeah.
but there's also about, is this something that someone is going to want to have as their front door?
Yeah.
That's a very important consideration.
Ranjan and Paul are absolutely right on.
Are you struggling to find your next commercial to residential conversion project? Well, over the next 2 years, virtually every UK bank branch will close. Banks are fabulous buildings in prime locations, and thanks to permitted development rights, they're really easy to convert to alternative uses under a light touch planning regime. My team have put together a list of over 500 UK bank branches which are poised for imminent closure. And for a limited period only, you can download this list absolutely free. Your next commercial property project is on this list, so download it now and enjoy the rest of the video.
What is this specific area like, Carl? What I'm also meaning is, like, what's the demographic? Like, is it a nice area or is it a bit of a rough area?
Now I would say this is the nice part.
Right.
Yeah, I would definitely say this is the nice part. I know East London quite a bit, but
Yeah,
this
and the
is
fact it's
definitely
got a nice bakery and patisserie would suggest that. Okay,
And
Helen.
sorry, did we know what's above it? What's on the second floor?
offices.
That's just offices,
offices,
as well.
yeah.
Okay.
Would he sell that as well?
That's something I would have to get in touch with him as well.
How did the conversation come about between the first floor and the top floor?
That hasn't
being
come
separated, I
up.
mean.
That hasn't come up, that conversation.
Okay.
So the letter was referring to the first floor.
First floor only.
Yeah.
So potentially he might sell all of it.
Yeah.
That's a bit more Right. Oh, interesting.
Oh,
then.
interesting.
Yeah, okay.
Much more interesting. It's a no for me today. Certainly, if you come up with a bigger scheme, be it this or another one, do contact me because I think we could do something.
I'll quickly second the same as John. All floors with some access for bike and bins and various bits in the communal area. If you can tick all those boxes with the vendor and you've got a real deal that's deliverable, yeah, I'd love to hear about it. But what you've presented today, unfortunately, it's too small. There's too many unknowns. Probably can't work really
Yeah.
for the access issues. But yeah.
I mean, as you probably know, I do this all the time. I'm not comfortable with this, mainly because I don't like bits of buildings, and particularly middle floors of buildings. I'd be okay with the top 2 floors or the whole building preferably. And I would urge you to focus your direct-to-vendor campaign on where the whole building is owned as one freehold entity. Those offer far more juice in the deal,
Yeah.
with far less restrictions and unknowns. So that would be my word of advice to you.
And that's free from Ranjan. It's not always the case, is it, as we know? Helen?
Again, I don't have much more to add than the guys have said. The juice, as they've said, is in getting the 2 floors at least. So, yeah, you definitely need much more kind of certainty and concrete around the deal. So, not for me today.
There's too many unknowns. If you knew all the answers to the questions about the access and whether it's desirable or not, whether you can get in there to actually do the work, because the access could be super tight and maybe it's not even possible to convert this. So there's just a few too many unknowns with it, but would certainly be open to discussing it with you if you tick all those boxes and if you can make it a bit more juicy.
So look, it's not a deal today, unfortunately for any of us, but thank you very much for coming in. And as we've all said, you know, if you had a bit more information and it was a bigger deal, and it could be quite easily a bigger deal by having the next floor, then I think all of us would be interested in doing something. But thank you for coming in today.
Thank you for the advice, guys.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
Thank you.
So Kyle, tell us how you got on.
Unfortunately, I didn't get the investors on board, but I did get some great advice.
Good. So how are you feeling? You feeling okay?
I'm feeling okay. It was a good experience.
Good.
And like I said, good feedback. So I'm now going to take the advice home and start applying it.
I think for me, this was a little bit half-baked.
Yeah.
Oh, he's been saving that one.
I said the jokes are getting better, but I'm not sure they are now. I see this as a serious business, not a joke. And I would say that if he had a bit more information with it all,
There was a little bit of
he didn't
lack
do
of
enough
No.
Absolutely.
research on it before we came in.
I mean,
Nice guy, not enough research, and he
he
needed
did
to ask the
his
big
job as a
question.
sourcer, but he didn't do his job as a developer.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
and there's a big difference
Great
between the
summary.
two, isn't there?
Great
Correct.
summary.
The Baker Street Property Meet is the UK's largest and #1 property investors networking event. The property market is going through monumental change right now, and at Baker Street Property Meet we aim to keep you up to date with the latest tips and tricks and insider tactics to help you keep on top of your property investing game and succeed in these troubled economic times. The Baker Street Property Meet is fundamentally about networking, because it's not what you know, it's who you know. And at Baker Street we aim to connect you with the people to make your property journey a monumental success. There's no better place to be to further your property investment journey than the Baker Street Property Meet. So make sure you're here, you're connecting with myself and Andrew Roberts, our expert guest speakers and 300 passionate property people each and every month. See you at the next meet. Get your spot at bakerstreetpropertymeet.com.